Welcome to Tea Time with Barrett and Tracy. We are continuing our Mirror series and the ongoing topic of how do you perceive your reflection. But before we get into our questions for today's discussion, how are you today, Ms. Barrett?
I am fine, thank you, Miss Tracy. I am doing very well. I am at this moment in time in Florida vacationing, trying to establish and work very hard moving forward. So thank you very much. How are you, Miss Tracy?
I am well. I am still in Maryland, packing, preparing for my relocation to Georgia. So I'm very excited about that. And it's a beautiful day. The weather for the past 2 days has been picturesque. It's been amazing. It's been amazing. All right, so you ready to delve into our questions for today?
Yes, I am. Thank you very much. Yes.
So again, we are continuing on our topic of how do you perceive your reflection. And our question for today, we have 4 questions, but we want to start off with question number 1, which is, how do you define your self-worth? So would you like to answer first, Ms. Barrett?
Yes, first I think that it's a very difficult question to answer. And therefore, I would like if you could ask me it again so that I fully am aware of my own awareness, what I am digging into.
How do you, Barrett, define your self-worth?
That is, again, I think a very difficult question. And I hope that many other women like myself find it difficult to answer the question, how do we define our own self-worth? I think that is one of the challenges we as women, maybe I am not the only one who sits with that. I know my self-worth is under an enormous pressure, is stressed out of many reasons. Because I want to improve, because I want to be helpful, because I want to be part of a good, great family, because I want to be good to my friends. All is not doable, all is not possible. Fact is that for myself, over the years, I have learned that what is most important is to relax and breathe and just see a little bit what happens more than take initiative to be active and going about seeking goals all the time. I like our approach that we have with going forward with daily affirmations, as I find that is very powerful for myself. It is powerful to be among good people who can support you. So my self-worth is a huge, long question. Working on it.
Okay.
You support me a lot.
And it's a pleasure to do so, and you reciprocate.
Thank you.
We have a cycle here.
Yes.
Which is hard to find in a lot of relationships. So I, for one, am thankful. For me, I define my self-worth on, I think, all of my experiences and the fact, the experiences, the challenges, that I survived them, that I overcame every hurdle, that I set goals for myself and I achieved them. So I define my self-worth based on my innate abilities, my compassion for humanity, my introspection, my self-awareness. So I define my self-worth based on everything that I know that I am, everything that I know that I'm not, and accepting them both.
What is it that challenges us, do you think, in the perception of defining our self-worth. I mean, we work for it every day. Why is it so difficult when we open up and need to talk about it?
I think because we have a lot of different messages coming at us, societal messages, messages within our own personal circles, messages that we received as children that gave us the perception that everything outside of you has value. And the more you accumulate, that adds to your value. The higher your status in life, that adds to your value. We, and I'm not saying all of us, because I'm sure there are some people who were reared with the understanding that your value is within. So we look for everything outside of us to give us value, not even add value, but to give us value. So we are not happy with our station in life, then we equate that to our work.
In your mind, Ms. Tracy, what would be the good advice for someone listening to us right now?
For me, everything starts and stops with self-love. When you have a healthy level of self-love, not to say you don't need anything else, because that will just be too we need things to survive in life, but operating from a place of self-love, the amount of value you put in it starts to shift. You put more value on your happiness, on your peace, on your overall well-being than you do on buying a bigger house than your neighbor, a more expensive car than your sibling, climbing higher up the corporate ladder or whatever ladder in whatever industry you are in than the next person. When you operate through self-love, you are grateful for everything. You see the beauty and the value in everything. So it's less stressful. There's no competition. You're just happy, and whatever comes next in the journey, whatever you strive towards, your goals are to be in alignment with, you have that self-love, so then you want to be in alignment with that universal love, where it is you are attracting people and situations that vibrate at the same frequency. So, you have a loving environment, loving people that you can go to and socialize with and get support from. So it's operating from a place of self-love, and then you get to the place of self-acceptance, and then everything that once had so much value no longer has value. And I'm not saying you won't like expensive things, because I'm a Taurus. So opulence is just ingrained in our DNA. So I will take it all. However, it doesn't define me. I am still Tracy, whether or not I have on $600 shoes or not. I'm Tracy in shoes from Goodwill. And Tracy will make those shoes from Goodwill look remarkable. So it's just a journey of self-love and self-acceptance, and it puts a different
and that's actually, I think, my advice is that whomever are listening to us right now, the advice that you have is that the impact and the influence that people have on one another, and therefore it has become more important that we are among people who seek to find the best in us. And I think that when you are around people who make you feel comfortable and make you grow and help you through your challenges, I think that you, in a way, become so much more yourself. You relax and you have an overview that becomes even stronger than one can even imagine. And therefore, I think that the impact, the conversations that we have become even more important.
I agree. I agree.
So when one looks to find out who one is and what one's self-worth is, it is important to align with other people and feel and know, what am I? Who am I? So if it were up to you, how would you start that process if you were to give someone advice?
I'm a list maker, so I write out why I have certain relationships, how those relationships benefit me, how they benefit the other person. And if it doesn't weigh out, if it's not equal, if it's not that the things that I aspire to, if that's not what the relationship's about, if the relationship is here because we have history, we have nothing in common, we don't operate by the same philosophies, the thread that binds us is history, then I will make a decision that that relationship is not mutually beneficial to either of us. And I believe that the universe abhors a vacuum. So if I remove myself from that situation, the universe will bring someone into that person's life that is aligned with what that person thinks and feels and knows about him or herself, and vice versa. So I do a pros and cons, and that's anything. I remember when I did a 10-day water fast in 2012. And I thought that I was just fasting from food, but it was really a spiritual experience where I started to question why I did anything. So I questioned my relationship with TV. So I don't watch TV just for entertainment. I watch it to be educated. I watch it to help me expand. So if I can't justify why I do something or why this relationship is, then it has to go. I'm just at a place in my life where it is, I don't have things, I'm not hoarding, I'm not a collector of things. It has to be purposeful. If it's not serving the purpose, which is supporting my goal of lifelong learning, if you're not supporting that, if that activity is not supporting that, if that object is not supporting that, then it's out of alignment with you. It has no place. So it's taking a look at why we do what we do, why we associate with who we associate with. And a lot of people don't like to do that. Accumulation, again, adds value. So you want me to go from 40 friends to 2? That's not, a lot of people can't make that shift. And it's a lot more value in quantity for some people than it is in quality. And for me, I'm a quality person, so.
So what you're saying is that each person or each woman should look into to understand what is it that gives her value, and then make a list.
And yeah, and not that she could. I don't deal with what a person should do. A person can do whatever they like, but a person could do. A woman could look into those things that are currently in her life to see how they add value and to see how they decrease value as well, and make a decision from there.
Like you, I am a list person in many ways. In many ways, I am also not a list person. but I always use the gap tools
Mm-hmm.
to find out where I am and
Mm-hmm.
why. A little, like you said, a little spiritual, like my life talks to me,
Mm-hmm.
meaning that when things happen and it makes me sad,
Mm-hmm.
I will need to make decisions about it. But I am also a slow mover, meaning that I don't make decisions right away.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that by being a slow mover, some of the things happens naturally, because once you start looking in and you're seeing the gaps becomes very obvious to you, me. And for me, the gap tool is just an enormous strength, and it has shown me how not to waste my own time,
Mm-hmm.
which I think that it's not a question about letting it go. It's a question about how I add also to somebody else's life. Because if I want too much something that they don't want,
Mm-hmm.
it gets out of balance
Right.
anyway.
Right.
So I think that the approach, like you say, it's just a different approach. And I think it makes good sense, as you and I also in personalities are different. You're
Mm-hmm.
much deeper, stronger than I am, where I am maybe higher up in the visual. Makes good sense the way that we move and how that reflects on our personality. And I think that's a huge message to people listening into us, is that we're all different. With respect for that, we might say things differently, but we actually mean the same thing.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So,
So,
go ahead.
no, I was just going to say, so do you think we should put a pin in it right there and pick up with the next question in next week's webinar?
Yes, yes.
So we can actually put it out there what the question will be, which is, do you define your self-worth by the roles that you play?
Yeah.
Examples: mother, executive, father, sister, brother, daughter, husband, wife, all of those things. Do those things define your self-worth for you?
Mhm.
And a lot of people, when you sit with that question and are honest with yourself, you will probably be surprised with what they come up with.
I think that's a huge topic. I think it is. I think that if we think about the outcome that we're seeking, I think that we would do many, many things differently, because many times we don't think of ourselves in that role.
Mm-hmm.
We just go about things. Have we thought about that we would, of our role, we would act differently?
Mm-hmm.
So I look really forward to next time, our next webinar, where we will dig into that subject. What should we call it?
Well, it's still the continuum of the how do you perceive your reflection. So it's just question number 2.
Mhm. So for listeners, will you wrap up?
Sure. So thank you all for joining us for this week's Tea Time with Barrett and Tracy. We look forward to seeing you all again next Monday at 12 noon. Have a great week. Have an empowered week, and manifest your magnificence in everything that you do. Until next time, Miss Barrett, see you
Thank
next
you for
week.
this time. Thank you.